Here on Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. We're here with you every Friday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern. In Love Bay, we are continuing to rise out of the ashes together. Our topic on tonight, we are still dealing with the issue of my stalker. So this is part two. We have with us our co-host, Prophetess Nicole Tillman. Listeners, if you have any questions or comments for myself or for Prophetess Nicole, you can email us at sufferingandsilencedv@gmail.com. You can also text us at 437-778-3299. Please also remember to like, share, and subscribe through whichever platform it is that you're watching us by. If you have any resources that you would like to share with us on a national or local level from your country, your community, any local organizations or your faith community, you can also email us at sufferingandsilencedv@gmail.com. And with that, our prophetess, I would ask if you would greet our listeners on tonight.
Sure. Good evening, everybody. I'm delighted to be the co-host today with Pastor Tia. This is a very important topic, so I'm just looking forward to continuing the discussion and contributing what I can. So,
Thank you. Thank you
thank
so
you.
much.
Mhm.
So, as usual, we start with some resources. Again, Love Bay, we are always in the process of raising funds for Rise Out of the Ashes Inc. If you would like to make a tax deductible donation, you can visit our GoFundMe fundraiser. You can go to their site. You can look for Rise Out of the Ashes Inc. Or you can make checks payable to Rise Out of the Ashes Inc. We are at P.O. Box 15, Drexel Hill, PA 19026. Also, if you would like to contribute through purchases of my book, which are available on Amazon, we use proceeds from my book to fund what we do. And that is we support victims and survivors of domestic violence. The biggest thing that we do is the use of immediate and emergency funding, providing for those who need, for doctors' visits, for food and utilities, for moving individuals to a safe location. We do what we can, and we need your help to continue to do what we do. I also want to share substance abuse mental health services, their national hotline. This is in the United States. Their number is 800-662-4357. We also have Befrienders Volunteer Action to Prevent Suicide. To find a helpline by your country, you can go to their website, befrienders.org. In the United States, we have the National Domestic Violence Hotline. Their website is thehotline.org. Their number is 1-800-799-7233. In Canada, we have the Canadian Women's Foundation. Their website is canadianwomen.org. Their number is 1-866-293-4483. In the UK, we have the National Domestic Abuse Helpline. Their website is nationaldahelpline.org.uk. Their number is 080820000247. Or you can visit Women's Aid, also in the UK. Their website is womensaid.org.uk. And with that, we move into our topic on this evening, which is dealing with my stalker, part two. I want to start with definitions again, which we shared on last week. The definition from Psychology Today of stalking. Stalking is a pattern of unwanted contact or behavior that leads someone to feel upset, anxious, or scared for their safety. The definition from New South Wales government: stalking is defined as a persistent course of conduct or actions by a person intended to maintain contact with or exert control over another person, causing distress, fear, or harassment. This behavior often occurs repeatedly and can include unwanted communication or monitoring. It is considered a form of emotional abuse and can significantly impact the victim's sense of security and autonomy. And what we discussed on last week is that January is Stalking Awareness Month in the United States. And so for the month of January, this is what we are going to be focusing on using my personal story. So on last week, We went through my story, so you can look up that episode and find out exactly what it is that has happened, what occurred. And today we want to move forward to the next part, which was the meeting that I had with Senator Tim Kearney. So, very quickly, on August 28th, I got a temporary protection from abuse order against the person that was stalking me. On September 4th, the final order was granted. That order is in place until March 5th, 2026. On September 24th, I wrote a letter to Congresswoman Mary Gay Scanlon. And on November 21st, I had a meeting with Senator Tim Kearney. There were several individuals, friends, and colleagues who attended that meeting with me, one being Prophetess Nicole Tillman. So as we talk, I would love to hear, her thoughts and insight from that meeting. In addition to Senator Tim Kearney, his chief of staff, Sarah McCullough, was a part of that meeting. State Representative Heather Boyd and State Representative Jennifer Amara was supposed to join us, but she was unable to. She sent a representative on her behalf.
Mhm.
When we went into the meeting, I went with a prepared agenda, specific points that I wanted to touch on. I didn't want to waste anybody's time, my own nor anyone else's. And there were specific things I wanted to speak of, I wanted to put on the table, and I wanted to make sure that my voice was heard. And I have to say, I give my thanks very much to Chief of Staff Sarah McCullough. She
Mhm.
was the first person who responded to me when I sent my letter to the Congresswoman. I copied, and last week I went through the list of individuals who I copied on that letter, and she was one of the ones I copied. Sarah McCullough responded to me in less than 2 hours when she got my letter. I sent hard copies out and I sent it out by email. When I spoke with her, she was sincerely concerned. I believe that she literally actually wanted to help me. She wanted to understand what was going on and she wanted to do what she could to help. She is the reason that Victim Services actually reached out to me and that there was communication on their part. She's also the reason that I was getting responses because there was a breakdown in that communication, which we will touch on as well. So I give my thanks to her. But when we went into that meeting, um, and let me say this again, I love Bay. This is my public service announcement.
Yes.
Again, there is no Philadelphia undercover narcotics officer with the badge number of 369. The man that is stalking me is impersonating a police officer, and this is the information that he is using. If there is anyone telling you, man or woman, that they are a police officer, they should be able to give you a real badge number. They should be able to give you the precinct that they report into. They should be able to give you the commanding officer that they report to, and you should be able to check that information. If you can't, then I would say you need to be leery of the information that you are receiving. So, again, there is no Philadelphia undercover narcotics cop. There is not now, nor is there ever, with the badge number of 369. And with that, as we went into this meeting with Senator Kearney, the first point on my mind was that I wanted the license of this man who was stalking me to be revoked. I believe that was the first thing that I said. His license needed to be revoked because he has an actual live legal license to carry firearms, even though he's impersonating the police. And so the first thing that I said, revoke that license to carry firearms. Do not return to him the 45 caliber weapon that he had to turn in, the shotgun that he had to turn in, and other handguns that he had to turn in. And I asked a question, which I did not get an answer to. How did he obtain a license to carry a firearm after being arrested on a gun violation? Um, so that was the first thing that I put on the table. Again, I did not get an answer to that question of how he was able to get a license to carry a firearm after he was arrested on a gun violation. Again, the police told me that this man was impersonating the police. I had no idea. until the police told me. They actually showed me his mugshot, showed me, the gun violation, and the officer in front of me at that time, he didn't even know why. He couldn't explain why this man was given a license to
Mm.
carry a firearm. So, and Nicole, you were there. So again, that was the first thing that I put on the table. So, do you want to throw anything out right now?
I mean, I just to comment on that, that it was just it's bewildering and also frustrating that, this type of atrocity could happen. Because it's not just a small oversight, it's a huge thing. Like every step of the way, it seems like there was another delay or just mishap that, kept things from moving forward, and no one has answers. And that's just the most infuriating part of it. So I do appreciate that when we walked in, everyone did that was in the room seemed to have an understanding of how serious it is, but then everyone seemed to have their hands tied as far as what they could actually do to move things forward. Um,
Absolutely. Because I think the one sentence that I have heard so many times repeated since this
mhm,
has begun is that it's outside of my jurisdiction. That
right.
I would do something if I could. I want to do something, but I can't.
Mhm,
Which leads to the next point that was brought up was that, and I said, charge this stalker with impersonating the police.
right.
Actually, during the PFA hearing, his lawyer said he was a security guard, but he just took it too far. That's an admission of guilt to me.
Correct.
And so, they were off on the side, the judges, the judge, the lawyers were talking because the judge questioned why the PFA was for 6 months. She felt that that was too long. And I was bewildered. I couldn't believe it. I absolutely felt and still feel that 6 months is not, a long enough time. But
Right.
they had their talk over on the side. My lawyer explained this man is also not just stalking her, but impersonating the police. And his lawyer said, well, he was a security guard. And I don't know if that's true or not, if he ever was a security guard. But if it was,
Right.
he was a security guard and he took it too far. Again, to me, that's an admission of guilt.
Yeah,
Um,
100%. That's
and the
exactly what
law
that
again, yes, the law again says, Section 4912, impersonating a public servant. A person commits a misdemeanor of the second degree if he falsely pretends to hold a position in the public service with intent to induce another to submit to such pretended official authority or
is.
otherwise to act in reliance upon that pretense to his prejudice. Cross references. Section 4912 is referred to in Section 6105 of this title, Section 5552 of Title 42, Judiciary and Judicial Procedure. It seems to me that the law is just open to individual interpretation.
Mhm.
Again, that sentence, I would do something if I could, but it's outside of my jurisdiction. There are several police officers who said to me, this is illegal. I would arrest him or I would even bring him in for questioning. I would do something, but I can't because this is outside of my jurisdiction. I don't understand. And something that I did appreciate was that Senator Kearney did explain to me that he did not have the authority to force the police out or direct the police to go arrest him or bring him in because that's what I wanted. Like that was what I wanted. That was at the top of my list. I don't like that he could not do that, but I do appreciate him taking the time to explain it because none of this was making sense to me. Because again,
Yeah.
all I see is that it's like the law is there and everybody gets to interpret it whatever way they see fit or however they want. Like there are officers outside of Pennsylvania who are like, I would come in, I would do it, I would do, but they can't. They can't. You
Mhm.
can't come inside of Pennsylvania from another state and the different counties. Where we are within Delaware County, one county can't go into the other, and it's just it's annoying isn't a strong enough word, but
Right.
it is disappointing and it's frustrating. And all roads stop with Sergeant Stephen Banner. He made the decision to not go forward. And two of the people who were in this meeting with me, friends and colleagues, were two of the people who were also willing to give statements of witnessing this man impersonate the police.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was told more people had to come forward. Well, those people came forward, but Sergeant Banner never talked to them. They were actually told in this meeting, take your statement, write it down, we'll get back to you. They were never followed up with. So at the end of it, what I was told when contact was made with me again was that the DA decided there was not enough information to build a case or to move forward or what have you. But I had that conversation with Sarah McCullough, and I said to her, but I never talked to the DA. He never talked to me.
Right. So how are you?
So how did you get to that decision of there's not enough information? We never had a conversation. He never talked to those other witnesses. I did talk to Sergeant Banner, but Sergeant Banner never talked to those other witnesses. So
Mm-hmm.
again, how did you make a decision that there was not enough information? Again, no one has gone into his community. No one has gone to his church. No one has gone to his family and friends to talk to these people. All these other people who believe that this man is a police officer. How did you decide that there's not enough information and
Right.
conversations weren't had?
Right.
Uh, so I'm not happy with that at all. I'm not satisfied. I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I am thankful again that I had that conversation. I believe I was listened to,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not happy with the end result. That answer that came back to me.
Right. Because it just leaves things open.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
I don't think that this situation is not about creating a new law. Um, it's about enforcing the law that's already there. It's
Mm-hmm.
about enforcing the procedures that are already in place and correcting mistakes that were done. Because if the law was followed, if things were done in the very beginning, it would have never gotten to this point of this man stalking me and impersonating the police. I believe that there were several roadblocks set up. If people did their job, it would have never gotten to this point.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah,
Because it's just too many, like you said, it's just too many steps, too many spaces where had this step been taken properly, had the law been upheld the way it should be, we would not be here.
yeah. And again,
Um,
and it's not just about me personally. I
right.
I believe this is a public safety issue. And I
Mm-hmm.
honestly believe if this man was given a license to carry a firearm after he was arrested on a gun violation, who else has a license to carry a firearm who shouldn't have one?
Correct.
It's like you don't want to open Pandora's box. You don't want to open that can of worms. Well, somebody
Right.
needs to do something before someone is hurt. And I believe that the judicial system, law enforcement, politics, they're conditioned to be reactive instead of proactive. When
Mm-hmm.
somebody dies, grab the yellow tape, we're out.
Right.
Start trying to make an arrest then. Do you
Mm-hmm.
have to wait until somebody is shot and killed? Do you have to wait until somebody is strangled? Do you have to wait until somebody is missing?
Yeah.
Uh, I who was it? I think it was John Wayne Gacy. He had a fascination with police, with law enforcement. I mean, like it's like what a few months ago, before we went into our break, I believe I was with Jen and Aaron, and we were having a conversation about Cassie and Sean Combs. We were talking about how she had that video. She has evidence of his behavior, his actions, what he's done, and even having that video evidence is still not enough.
Right.
And looking at that statement that I made right now through what I'm going through, it's just it hurts even more because
Mm-hmm.
now I see that and I feel that from such a personal way. I
Right.
I not only have, I guess, the evidence, I not only have the truth, but the police are the one who gave me the truth.
Yes.
They are the ones who told me. I would not know if the real police did not bring this information to me.
Mm-hmm.
So it very disheartening, very disheartening. But again, as I said last week, I refuse to be the person who is killed. I refuse to be the person who's hurt. I refuse to be the one who's you reading about me in the paper because I was hurt because of what he's done. That's
Right.
not going to happen.
Not
It's
at all.
not. Um, yeah. So the that point of him being charged, the DA said he didn't believe there was enough without talking to me, without talking to those witnesses, without taking their statements. Didn't believe that there was enough information to move
And then
forward.
and then whose response becomes, then what is enough evidence? What do you need?
Is that at the point where someone is killed or harmed? Because when I talked to Sergeant Kamara when he was telling me, his rights couldn't be violated, so I said to him, so you want to wait until he hurts me before you do anything? And he said,
Hmm.
that's not what I'm saying. But that is exactly what you're saying. You
Correct.
need to wait until he does something in your eyes that is actually breaking a law. You need to wait until he's physically doing something. What else could that be other
Right.
than causing harm? Because
Mhm.
even if he's caught trying to pull someone over and maybe give him a fake ticket or something like that, that's harm. That's a psychological harm. That's a damage. But you already know you
Right.
have this information. Why not do something? And again, even at the very least, take the stuff from him. This man is not an emergency worker. He's not emergency personnel. He's not a volunteer firefighter. He doesn't work with, he's not an EMT. There's no reason that he should have fake police lights in his.
Correct.
Take them, take the lights, take the fake badge. Him and
Hmm.
his fake badge and that 45 caliber handgun are standing up in church on Sunday. That's a problem.
It's a
Go
huge.
talk to those people.
Hmm.
You want to wait until he uses it? And to me, I don't believe that it's a question of if this man does something in the future
It's
to
when.
harm someone. To me, it's when, and not only is it when he does something, but also because he's been doing this for years, it's when somebody else comes forward with what he's already done to them. Because
Hmm.
obviously he believes he's been getting away with it. He's
Right.
doing it.
Yeah.
How do you have the audacity in public? And I mean, in Nicole, you're one of my friends. You know my friends, like the people that I know. Like
Yeah.
I have friends that are politicians. All my for most of my friends, they're pastors. Most of my friends, most of my like these people are people of stature, like
Correct.
yourself included. This
Hmm.
man is impersonating a police officer in front of these individuals. How
Right.
brazen can you be? Then so what? We can't violate his rights. What about my right to be safe,
Correct.
mentally and emotionally safe? What about my
Mhm.
right? And telling me to carry my gun, that's asinine.
It is.
That's so those points that we brought up in the meeting, I did not like or agree with the answers at all. But I still say, and I believe I brought it. It's
Hmm.
there. The state of Pennsylvania, when whatever else happens, can't deny this issue. When somebody else comes forward, hopefully, I laid the groundwork, and hopefully they don't have to work as hard as I did. But it's sad and it's a shame. But I believe that there will be another person. I believe that there is another person, not will be. I believe that there is.
Unfortunately.
Another point that we covered, the office of Congresswoman Scanlon, when she sent her letter to me from her office, she referred me to the Judicial Conduct Board of Pennsylvania concerning the harmful behaviors of that judge. The judge in my case, she's known to be insensitive to victims and survivors of domestic violence and stalking. Victim services knew this. The lawyers knew this. When her name was mentioned, it was like it, they didn't want to be involved with this judge because it's like they knew what was going to happen. When my case was called forth, I was not in a courtroom. I was downstairs. I was actually in the DA's office. Victims don't have to be present in a courtroom to face the perpetrators. So I was downstairs in the DA's office. The judge sent for me. She made me come into the courtroom. So she did not allow my lawyer to act in her capacity as an officer of the court on my behalf. Um, Other victims in that same courtroom for issues are allowed to not be in a room, but this judge forced me to come up. My lawyer said to her, you know, you're allowing this man to get what he wants, which he just wants to see her.
Hmm.
This judge told his lawyer, tell your client, don't look at her. What is that?
Ridiculous.
It was like, you know, it was the soap operas. Like,
Right.
so I come up into the courtroom. I'm in the courtroom. The judge never said one word to me. She didn't ask me a question. She didn't make a statement. Um, the only thing that she said was that she thought 6 months was a long time, and then they went over to the side and had their conversation. That was it. So why was I forced to come into the courtroom?
Right.
So the recommendation from the Congresswoman's office, you know, I brought that up, but you know, I also said there should be a way, a local avenue right then and there for individuals um, to deal with judges who are insensitive, you know, to victims and survivors of domestic violence. I mean, how do you walk into a courtroom and a judge is just that insensitive or that rude and careless?
Right.
So I did bring that up, and so Representative Heather Boyd, she was supposed to talk to the president judge. Her name is Linda Carziano, I believe. She was supposed to arrange a meeting, you know, for me to be able to talk with her and discuss the issue. But as of yet, there's been no follow up with that. And in the meeting, I said to Senator Kearney, it's really, really unfair to expect the victim to challenge a judge. And you're talking about an ongoing case. So I
Right.
told them, take my case, everything to do with it. Take this and use it as a blueprint, use it as
Hmm.
an example, go forward, do what you need to do.
Right.
I mean, everything from this man having a license to carry a firearm to weapons being returned to him to the treatment of this judge. So many things went wrong in
Correct.
just this one situation. You know, I told them take it and use it, change some things, but it's unfair to expect a victim to challenge a judge, and you're in an ongoing case. You know, the
Hmm.
fear of what if I go back and I'm before the same judge again? You know, they have so much authority and control, you know,
Hmm.
over your life, over that case. And when you're dealing with something like this, it's like, I just want to be done. I just want this over with. I want to go home. But you know
Hmm.
what? Step into a courtroom, that doesn't mean that you don't have to respect me. That
Correct.
doesn't mean I check my dignity at the door because
Hmm.
a judge.
Right.
So that was an issue, you know,
Hmm.
that brought up. But again, you know, as of yet, I haven't had any follow up on that. You know, and you tell individuals, call the police, um, make your report, and then what?
Right. Yeah. It's so sad, and just it's more than sad. It's just infuriating because, again, like you say, you want victims to come forward, you want them to come to the police, but then it's like if they're not doing what they're supposed to do, then how can they have faith in the system
Exactly.
when it seems like it's stacked against the victim, especially in these type of situations when you have a judge who's not just insensitive but just vulgar, because she could have removed the assailant out of the room and kept the attorneys just there if she wanted to see you, you know.
Exactly. Like,
You could She could have put more parameters in place, but then there still was no point in her even calling you forward. But again, that's that insensitivity that, she just decided to do what she wanted to do for whatever reason she wanted to do it.
yes,
But where are the checks and balances to keep these people in line, to hold them accountable so that this doesn't become further damage? I mean, by the grace of God, you are who you are, and you have more knowledge, understanding, and connection to and the strength to move forward. But a lot of people don't have that. They don't have the understanding of the law or their own rights. They don't have the resources, the same amount of resources, as quickly. We're you're making the avenue for people to have connection to resources, but the level that you had. So it's terrible. It was just a terrible, it's an atrocity all around. But for it to be used as a blueprint, I hope that they do. I hope that they use it as a way to move forward. And I was going to say a little bit earlier, even with talking about the police and the checks and balances, I wonder if part of the reason that they've been like shying away from this is because it would shine a light on their missteps and them falling behind and not upholding the law.
Yeah, and I'm not interested in pointing fingers. I'm not interested in throwing anybody under the bus.
Right.
What I full well want is for the license to carry firearms of this individual to be revoked. And what
Mm-hmm.
I want is for those weapons not to be returned to him.
Right.
That's it. And if it's happened in my case, I know it's happening for somebody else. And I
Right.
also recommended that this judge in particular should be directed to take and complete trauma sensitivity training. I think if you're sitting on a bench, if you're sitting over family court cases, if you're
Mm-hmm.
sitting over cases that have to deal with domestic violence and stalking, you should be trauma informed.
Of
You
course.
really should be. And not just the judge, the lawyers, anyone to do with these cases, you need to be trauma informed. So that
Mm-hmm.
was a recommendation that I put forth. What happens from here, I don't know,
Right.
but I hope they are looking at it and moving forward.
Yeah.
Um, so another point that we addressed was the poor communication between the Delaware County Victims Assistance Center, the local police, um, and the victim, because it was just like it was weeks before the person from the victim center touched base with me, and there were times I only got a follow up because I talked to Sarah, and Sarah asked the question, then I got a phone call. But
Mm-hmm.
I talked to the detectives. The detective said he never heard from victim services. Victim services said the detective wasn't getting back to them. I talked to the person at victim services, and weeks after a conversation, and she would just tell me what I already told her, ask me questions of what I already gave her. It was just a complete meltdown, just
Mm-hmm.
total. And so you're telling victims, we have this organization, we have this agency where they're going to fight for you, they're going to speak up for you, because they were supposed to deal with the police to make this easier on me, and
Mm-hmm.
everything just fell through. How can weeks go by with
Yeah.
no communication at all? And again, me being who I am, me knowing who I know, that
Mm-hmm.
again, there were times, I mean, Love Bay, the people in that room with me, that looked me dead in my eyes and told me, we know you tired. We know
Mm-hmm.
you're struggling, but we're going to be strong for you. We are here for you. There are people even today who are still asking questions and making phone calls and inquiries on my behalf.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I went into that room with. I had Nicole sitting right there talking and speaking. Now,
Mm-hmm.
what about the person who is alone, who is by
Right.
themselves, who does not know what to do, who doesn't know what phone calls to make?
Mm-hmm.
How do we continue to tell people, this organization, these police, they're here to help you? The checks and balances.
Right.
Who's watching out for these organizations? Because if you
Mm-hmm.
have 1,000 calls that go through and they're wonderful, great. What about the 10 that fell through?
Right.
What about the 10 still swinging in the wind? They don't know what to do. They're
Mm-hmm.
afraid. What
Right.
about them? I
Yeah.
think if one person has fallen through the cracks, that's one too much. Because if your organization is
Mm-hmm.
declared to stand up for the victim, then
Mm-hmm.
do that.
Yes.
Stand up for the victim. Don't agree, oh yeah, this judge is insensitive. And what? We're just talking about it around the cooler. It's the gossip of the day. Like this group of lawyers right here, you don't want to mess with them. Those cops over there, you don't want to mess with them. That judge, you want to stay out of her courtroom. How about we fix it?
Correct.
To take a traumatized person and you
Hmm.
make victims all over again, legally, you make them victims all over again through the courts, through the police. That's all of it is just, I don't have a strong enough word, beyond frustrating. And
Hmm.
I think a good word is hurtful. It is hurtful. It hurts
Hmm.
all over again. It hurts. And one of the last things I said, to everybody at the table when we left, I said, at the end of the day, this meeting is going to come to an end. Eventually, for everybody else except for me, the
Right.
subject is going to come to an end. But now this is a part of my life. I have to deal with this because
Correct.
I'm counting off days in my mind until March 5th comes, and then
Hmm.
after March 5th. So the people in that room, you'll be able to go back to your jobs and do whatever and focus on some other issues. It doesn't
Hmm.
work like that for me. It doesn't work like that for the victim. And
Hmm.
so something needs to be done. So I don't know how that particular point will be addressed, if it will be addressed, but it should.
I
Um,
truly hope it is. I really do. I mean, for everyone, it's not just like you said. It's not just you. It's everyone. Each and every call matters. The ones that slip through the cracks, there should be none slipping through the
yes.
crack. Each and every situation matters and is urgent. And a lot of what I heard in the room, unfortunately, was also, well, oh, this one's on vacation, that one's on vacation, it's the holidays, you got to understand. Well, that doesn't stop. Victimization does not stop because of the holidays. In fact, it gets worse around the holidays. So
Absolutely.
someone should still be on post. Aren't these emergency report, like emergency uh I forget the terminology, but um mandatory. Like you should be on, the someone has to be on post.
Yes.
If one person is out, then someone else capable needs to be in place so that things can still carry on and not be delayed, not fall behind the wayside. So I do hope as well, hope and pray that this like lights a fire, and that people start to become, accountable for what they're doing or not doing.
I hope so. And that we're accountable, that takes us to our next point.
Mhm.
Because the point that I then brought up was that the public does not know that the stalker is impersonating the police. And
Mhm.
again, one of the first things I said when I went into that office was that I'm not here just for me. I am here for the public. I am here for victims and for survivors. And so,
Mhm.
again, I had that stipulation put on me. Like I couldn't go and make others aware beyond my immediate circle, because if I have to go back and sit before this judge or any other judge, I'm told that's going to look like I'm just trying to get this person in trouble, as
Mhm.
opposed to tell the public the truth, that
Right.
this man is not only a stalker, but he's impersonating the police. Now,
Mhm.
what I know, that Sergeant Banner did was that through the police departments in Delaware County, there was some kind of notice that was put out for police that, for them to know or be aware, or if they happen to stop this person for something, that they would have the information that he's impersonating the police. But
Mhm.
that's within the police departments. There was nothing put into the communities. Like I said, nobody went to his church, the community, or anything.
Mhm.
So people really just, they don't know. Um, and this man is an ordained deacon in a church, in a local church. And so,
Mhm.
a point that I brought up was that I understand separation of church and state full well. I get that. But this right here is not that. Organizations, churches, businesses, for profit and not for profit, should be held accountable for people that
Mhm.
they put in leadership positions. And when
Right.
these positions are giving individuals access, to vulnerable populations, the women, children, elderly, the disabled, those organizations need to be held accountable. I
Mhm.
believe, his church needs to be held accountable. There needs to be a conversation. Okay, so you first go make them aware, because okay, really good chance they don't know. Well, I understand that, so they need to know their truth. But it's still the question. This man is ordained. Whoever put him up for ordination, whoever signed those ordination papers, you
Mhm.
need to answer some questions, because
Right.
what kind of check did you do before you put this man through ordination? What kind of
Right.
background check did you do? Who did you talk to? Because it would have been found then that this man is not a police officer. Do you ordain somebody who says,
Right.
I'm a police officer, and you don't verify that?
Mhm.
Somebody says, I'm a medical doctor, you just put them through, you just on their word, oh, this is a friend of mine, so I'm gonna just put it through, or however it went.
Mhm.
There should have been some kind of verification for an ordination
Absolutely.
process. And that does not have anything to do with the separation of church and state. That
Right.
is a public safety issue. And
Mhm.
specifically, even with church, and I said this in a meeting, and I believe it was Sergeant Kamara that I was talking to. This man says that when the boys act up, specifically boys in a church, in his community, he takes them to the police station to do like a kind of scared straight type of thing. Sergeant Kamara said, well, where is he taking these boys? What is he doing? How about you ask him?
Right.
How about you go have that conversation and find out what is he doing with these boys? What is
Right.
he telling these parents? That's a question that the police need to
Mhm.
get the answer to. What are
Correct.
you doing with these children?
Mhm.
He participates with the Penn Relays. I believe Steve Dolan is the director of the Penn Relays.
Mhm.
Um, Somebody needs to talk to Mr. Dolan,
Yeah.
because this person who is impersonating the police, who is a stalker, who has a protection from abuse order against him, he goes to the airport and picks up children who come in internationally, picks them up from the airport, transport them to the hotel, drives them around the city, takes them to the University of Pennsylvania for the
Mhm.
Penn Relays. Are nobody wants to talk about that?
Wow.
Nobody thinks that that should be investigated. I'm quite sure that these parents don't know that their child is being picked up and transported by a man who now has a PFA against him, who is a
Mhm.
stalker, and who has been impersonating the police for years.
Yeah.
I don't believe Mr. Dolan knows that. Who's going to tell him?
Right.
The University of Pennsylvania is one of the best schools in the world. It is
Mhm.
down the street from another one of the best schools in the world, Drexel University. Are we going
Mhm.
to wait until something happens on one of these college campuses to these kids? We're going to take that chance. There are just so many what ifs that are
Mhm.
out there. Just the
Yeah.
possibilities of what could go wrong,
Right.
what could happen, and we're just going to leave it.
Just leave.
Nobody's going to know that. I believe that that is worth the public being involved in. I believe that that is worth bringing it to the public's attention.
Mhm.
And his church needs to give some answers. The pastor needs to give some answers. Whoever signed that ordination paperwork, you accountability is when a
Mhm.
leader stands up and says, "This is what I did. This is why I did it." Whether it was wrong or right, you have a conversation. When you are
Mhm.
in a leadership position, you don't get to say, "Oh, it's not on me. I ain't have anything to do with it. I
Right.
didn't know." You don't get to do that as a leader.
Mhm.
Look at what's happening right now.
Right.
Somebody needs to be held accountable for all parts of this.
Absolutely.
And I swear by God, if anything happens to me, anything goes for, I am calling out everybody,
Mhm.
everybody who had anything at all along this entire process. I am not keeping quiet about this. That's how abuse thrives, because nobody says anything, nobody does anything, nobody takes accountability. And
Right.
I'm telling you, if this goes any further, if any, everybody,
Mhm.
everybody is going to give account on the part that they played, on them keeping their mouths shut, on them
Mhm.
turning a blind eye. Can you imagine what the outcry would be if somebody's child is hurt? If
Right.
somebody comes forward with a story about their son being
Mhm.
taken to one of these jails to be scared straight? Are we going to wait until something like that happens?
Right.
There's an accountability that I, I, I'm baffled. I'm,
Yeah.
I'm, I am baffled.
And it's completely mind boggling. And like, it just does not make any sense. Even with churches now require that if you're going to work with the youth in any kind of way, any capacity, you're going to teach Sunday school, you're going to be over youth Bible camp, that you have to do the background checks and get your child safety papers. So why is that not the case with any type of leadership, like all leadership?
A
To
criminal
have to go
background
through
check.
these background checks so that we know, like, you know what's going on, and you put things, parameters in place. Okay, this person does not. It just doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't.
And a person coming into any kind of leadership position, why would I have anything to hide? I've had
Right.
background checks done. I've had criminal background checks done, and
Mhm.
I've gotten the information in the mail, and I was surprised about how deep the criminal background checks go, because I saw information on one of my little brothers, like they know my siblings and stuff like that, and I was like wow. But I understand why that was done, and I don't
Mhm.
have anything to hide. So,
Right.
yeah, these are my siblings. This is my life. This is where I used to live. This is what I do. This is my job. This is my
Mhm.
behavior. If you can't answer those questions,
Right.
if you have a reason that you don't want a background check done, if you won't submit to it, then something
Mhm.
is wrong with that.
Right.
And in no way, shape, or form am I talking about a person coming into the church who has moved past their transgressions or whatever it is that they have done. Everybody has a life, we have a past, we have a history. But
Mhm.
somebody coming in the church and you've turned your life around, you don't hide that.
Correct.
You don't hide the arrest about a
Mhm.
gun violation.
Mhm.
You don't hide from what it is that you're turning away from and you've turned around. So we're not talking about that. Plenty of
Mhm.
people are in the church, have been arrested, had records, and their life is different now. But they're not
Right.
hiding it.
They're not hiding it, and this
They're not
person is
hiding it.
impersonating a police officer. Like, this is not. This isn't something that you walked away from. You're continuing to do it, and people are still believing that you are what you are not.
Absolutely. There's just so much to this. There's uh, one more point, because we have to go soon, that I wanted to touch on, brought up in the meeting. Um, my stalker is also a thief. The
Mhm.
police, sat in front of me and gave me all this information. This man worked for a public company in Philadelphia. He was fired from that job for theft and written up at that job for vandalizing somebody's car. The police told me that he was fired for theft, but that's public information. If you look it up, you'll be able to find it.
Mhm.
But he is a thief because he's stolen money from me.
Mhm.
So one of the things that I brought up in the meeting was that he owes money to me that he held onto and tried to use as manipulation and control. So
Mhm.
when I said, keep your distance from me, I set my boundaries, this is over, he wouldn't give my money back. And so someone intervened for me and said, you can pay her money back through Cash App. What is it? Zelle. You can give me the money to a third party. You can give her money back. And he
Mhm.
kept saying, I'll give it to her when I see her. I need to see her. We need to sit down. We need to talk. He kept trying to force a face to face meeting. And so my question was, all right, I have this PFA for this person. He is a stalker.
Mhm.
um, you know that he's impersonated the police. The police have confirmed this, but I will have to go to civil court to get my money back. So my question was, why do victims of domestic violence and stalking, why are we forced to go into different court systems for issues that are stemming from the same the same case of domestic violence and stalking. So again, I have the PFA. He is a stalker. He is
Mhm.
impersonating the police, and he has my money, but I have to go into civil court and pay money to get my money back. That to me is asinine.
Right.
He
And
clearly,
proof you are owed the money. Like the onus is on you when you do that. That's
I what the money is for, everything. I had dates, amounts, and and had I not said to this person, you are no longer allowed in my personal space, I would have got my money back.
mhm.
But because he tried to use it as a tactic and control, he kept it. Okay, so now why do I have to go through the extra mile of getting
Right.
my money back? Why do I
Mhm.
have to do that? So this person again is a stalker. I have the PFA. He is impersonating the police, and he's a thief. But I, the victim, has to go through another step to get my money back,
It's
which
ridiculous.
is which I have the information here, like a proof. You can see it. You can see. You see the transactions. You see this, but I got to go through civil court, pay money to get my money back.
It's
So
ridiculous.
it's being victimized again, all over again.
It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible.
So we have a couple minutes left. Oh, let me do my public service announcement again. Before we leave Love Bay, there
Mhm.
is no, nor is there ever, a Philadelphia undercover narcotics officer with the badge number of 369. Anyone telling you that he or she is a police officer needs to be able to give you a real badge number that you can verify with the precinct that they work for, work with, attend, report to, and the commanding officer that they report to. If they cannot provide that information to you, if they're saying this is what I do now or this is what I used to do, if they
Mhm.
can't provide that information to you, I would be very, very leery of it.
Yes.
Um, Unfortunately, I appreciated the meeting, but I did not leave with or afterwards receive the answers and action that I wanted. I guess there are some things that possibly still could happen, but um, I wanted to see more. I believe I deserve more. I believe that Delaware County, the residents of Delaware County, deserve more.
Mhm.
Um, I believe residents of Pennsylvania entirely deserve more. Um,
Mhm.
but Left Bay, this is the second part of my story. Next week, we'll go into another part. So this is where we'll leave it on this evening. Nicole, if you want to close us out tonight with your thoughts.
Man, it's mm, as unfortunate as this loop is right now. It's still important that you come forward if you are in a situation where you are being abused or you are experiencing harm. Still reach out, seek help, utilize the resources that are shared through this platform because there are people who will still help you. Um, we are, hopeful that justice will still be served for this particular situation, but also that accountability and um, just a better system of checks and balances will be put in place so that people aren't further victimized when they do come forward. Um, so I guess those are my final thoughts for this. Just, yeah.
But thank you so much. Thank you for being here with me tonight. My thanks again to Senator Tim Kearney. I did appreciate that meeting, and absolutely my thanks to his Chief of Staff, Sarah
Okay.
McCullough. That woman does her job.
Yes.
I give my thanks to them. Thank you, Love Bay, for being here with us on tonight. If you want to catch up on previous episodes of our program, you can visit our YouTube channel, Suffering in Silence DV. Please also remember to like, share, and subscribe via whichever platform you're watching us on tonight. Thank you for joining Suffering in Silence with Pastor Tia and my co-host, Prophetess Nicole Tillman. We're here with you on Love Bay Afrobeat Talk Radio every Friday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern. Love Bay, we will continue to rise out of the ashes with you. Good evening.